different.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Grab Your Torch with Caleb and Joel. We are back to recap episode 12 of Survivor 45, which featured Drew getting voted out. How did you feel about the tragedy that was Drew's demise?
I mean, I felt like this episode in general, it was like pretty heavy-handed that Drew was going. Like it just felt like the whole time we were just watching Drew's demise, and it's kind of been set up the entire season that he's been cocky, that his arrogance is the reason he's going to go home. I actually think the move made a lot of sense for everyone. Obviously, not Austin, but I think Drew, he gets like a lot of hate, and I don't really get why because we've always like super fans always ask for villains, and then we get a villain, and then we just do this. Like this is why no one plays like villains. And I think he was like such a I don't even know what the word is, like such a I don't know grumpy guy who is just like very game body, but like that was kind of made it funny compared to everyone else. Like I don't know. I like Drew. I like Drew. I didn't think he had a shot to win, but it was a good little arc for him. I liked it.
Me too. I think Drew was a great character on this season, and I understand where people are coming from that say like they don't really like his personality and stuff. Like, sure, like he can be a little like overconfident, but I think his game was just very polarizing in the fact that like he was always honest with what he told to people, and except
Mhm.
for what I noticed with when he was talking to Julie, he was like, "Oh yeah, Reva's back together," like that was like one of his first lies that he's kind of outright told instead of saying like, "No, you're on the bottom, we're trying to get you out." And I think that kind of bit him in the butt a little bit just because she obviously knew he was lying to her. And so that meant like he was the target, especially after he went for her last week as well. And so I do think he was a great narrator on the season though, complete like as a whole, like anytime there was strategy with the Rebas, like we would go to him and he would explain what was going on very well. And so I enjoyed like his presence in that way, as well as like his mind for the game, which was really good. I do think he could have won. I don't think his path was very good. I thought he was either going to be him or Julie going home this week, and it ended up being him, which I kind of would have rather Julie go home, but I don't know. That's just me. So I guess we
Yeah,
can. What went wrong for Drew here in this episode? Like, what could he have done?
I think I think in general, like he had like the right idea, and I can see where he's coming from. That we should just try to get out Julie again. Like her threat level has just raised, if anything. But I think he put way too much trust into D, and he put way too much trust into Austin. I think he didn't really manage his relationship with Julie well. I don't think it would have mattered, but I think more importantly, I don't think he managed his relationship with Jake. I think if he managed it with Jake, it would have been better. And he should have. What I was thinking through that whole time is that everyone knows Austin has the idol. Everyone knows that he has to play it. And to them, they're like, well, Austin's off the board. Like, if I was Austin, like, if I was feeling it, like, you could totally just idol Drew. Because it seemed that, like, obviously D wins immunity, and
Right.
honestly, Austin probably would have idled her if he had won immunity. But he seemed to be willing to do it for him. And like obviously it's a risk, but like D's not going to go after you, and you know that Drew's not going after you, so you're already in your head. You already have the votes. Why not idle Drew, gain trust, and might have accidentally saved him, but there wasn't a lot. It was a very clean blindside, and I think Drew just needed to like if he had a better social game, it would have been fine.
Yeah. I do think it was a case of trusting in Austin too much, and it came to like once again, like bite him in the butt twice. Like once last week when Austin went and told Dee about the plan, which then she told Julie and then played the idol, and therefore got rid of Emily, which was his one of his biggest allies outside of Austin. And then this week he trusted Austin too much, and once again they get blindsided because Austin's a puppy dog over D. And it seemed like he couldn't really strategize outside of working with D, which was an issue for Austin, but most importantly, it was an issue for Drew because it affected him. So I think that decision last week from Austin tell D about the plan to get out Julie, like really has caused a lot of shockwaves in the game and kind of screwed the game up for many of the players, including Austin, which is like really big blunder from him. But we could talk about that all day. I think everyone agrees that it was a mistake. Um, so we can move on a little bit to we had a reward challenge this time with a helicopter ride. What do you think about that?
I think it was cool. We haven't. When was the last time we gotten to see that? It's been a long time. I feel like
I
since
know.
like I don't know. It was cool to see. I found it funny that Couture was the third wheel, and it was crazy how like obvious they made their relationship. But I don't know. I really liked it. It was cool. Someone mentioned that the sand dune they were on, they believe it's the one from Winners at War when they all arrived
I
at.
think it was.
And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was cool that it's not the sanctuary, all that. And I don't know, I really liked it. It really showed how close Austin and D were. And I feel people kind of forget that like Dee really likes him too. Like it's not just like she's using him. Like she is, but like she also has feelings for him, but they're not letting it affect her game, which I think is the very big difference. Is that Austin is allowing it to affect his game. So I think it was a good way of like showing that like it wasn't a emotional battle of like, do I make like Austin unhappy? Like she has people at home that she needs to take care of, and her Oscar winning performance was
I
remind me of another winner,
know. I know that was
Nat.
crazy to me. I have no idea how she pulled that off. Like having at the top of the episode saying like, "Oh, let's just pretend that I was angry what happened too," and Julie and Dee still working together secretly. So, in essence, when Drew got voted out this week, I'm excited to see this aftermath of what's going to go down because then Austin will realize that she was working with Julie this entire time, and I think that will just cause a domino effect, and that could result in them turning with against each other, or it might just cause, some friction and animosity. So I'm interested to see the aftermath of what happens there. Um,
Yeah,
but again, I going back to that challenge, I think something that's really cool to talk about is the challenge creativity, which we've seen so many new challenges this season,
yeah,
which is just a, big breath of fresh air. So it's like I think they really listened to the fans when we all complained about Carson last week, taking over the game and completely just destroying every puzzle that he faced him, because they were all repetitive puzzles. Um, so I think that was really cool. And they're just like rolling on a barrel, like collecting stuff. Like I just thought that was really fun,
mm,
very simple, but like they can do stuff like that again, like, hey, let's pick up some stuff, let's pick up some new challenges, even, going back to, bringing back the last gasp challenge from the last two seasons. Like that was really good idea that they brought that challenge back. Like they should pull some more old school challenges back in the game, like every once in a while. Like those are interesting to watch as well as, their new creative ideas for challenges. So I think both of them were new this week, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
yes, they were.
yeah. And then even the one last week with the like rope management with like building that cool puzzle, like that was sick too. Like
Yeah,
they've just been doing they've been knocking it out of the park in that area. And the challenges have been really fun to watch this season, which a lot of people just kind of give or like, the challenges or whatever. At least the super fans. I know a lot of the casual fans love the challenges. Like that's their favorite part of the
mm,
episode, So it kind of gives something for both, groups of watchers, like it helps um, the fan experience a little bit more, and then it's more enjoyable for the casual viewer as well. So I'm enjoying the challenges.
no, yeah, I did too. I like the creativity in them. I liked how it came down to a showdown between Dee and Austin with it was such a unique challenge. Just balancing a ball with your leg, then rolling on barrels. And I feel like they actually like have a lot of weight to them where immunity actually did kind of matter. The fact that like first off if Drew won it would have been crazy because he was just like flailing the whole time. He's just so tall. But I mean, who knows what would have done? Like if I was Austin, I would have thrown that challenge because you're already safe and like you're just automatically like forcing people, like you're showing someone you trust them more than others, and I don't know, it shows your cards. But I really like it. I'm really hoping for a good final immunity. I'm so sick of Samotion. That's what I found out the name was.
Yes,
Is I forgot. I'm sick of it. It was
I know.
cool like once or twice, but like we've had it like four out of like three out of the four seasons. Like I'm sick of it. No more.
No more.
I,
Like they had it in Winners at War, I think, as well. Like they
yeah,
just, they
like
keep bringing it back, like over and over and over.
let's not.
Bring
Okay.
back Hand on a Hard Idol.
Yeah, I mean Jeff hates long endurance, so that's never coming back. But I'm still under the impression that final immunity should just be fire making. Keeps everything simple. Like if you want fire making, you still have it. If you're good at fire, you want immunity anyways. So
That's actually a very good idea. I think we should talk to Jeff about that, you know.
yeah, well, I'll call him after this and tell him.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Well, going back to Drew, yeah, I enjoyed his game, and I think once again it was just kind of Austin sinking his ship for him. So going into the finale, which we is crazy that on Wednesday that we get to see who the winner is of the season,
I
which is
know.
I feel like that's already so fast. And we've done a full season of podcasting for Survivor, which is awesome.
That's
So
cool.
and I think that's just a great milestone. But going into the finale, I kind of wrote down some of my like predictions, like what I think is gonna happen, and then versus like the chances for people to win, you know? So
Hmm.
going into that, if you would like to go into that, I for the finale predictions, they differ just a little bit. I think in fifth split spot, like Jake's gonna play his idol no matter what, so Jake's safe. And I don't think there's really a point in taking out Jake and or sorry, taking out Katura or Austin because they don't really have a great chance of winning. And so like taking either of them out would not really be beneficial to Julie and D. Like honestly, for Julie and D, it would be in their best interest to turn on each other here in this spot because they don't want to just risk like the other player when losing in fire. You know, they'd rather ensure that they go home here before even having to worry about fire. In that case, and so I think either Julie or D's in trouble here, especially from that idol. Um, Even though it might be their best interest to turn on each other, I don't really necessarily see that happening. I think I could see them and Austin, piling their votes on someone, and then Jake playing the idol for either himself or Katura to try to like take one of them out. Like he needs his big move here. And so I see Julie going home because I think that's where
Yeah.
Jake and Katura's, see, as the big threat on that side. And so fifth, I have Julie. And then a while back, I was like, who's gonna lose in fire? Initially, it was like, yeah, Austin has like a losing in fire making edit. So I that's just a weird take from me, but I think that
Hmm.
Austin would lose fire here. And then our final three would be Jake, Katura, and D, which mostly a landslide for D. I think Jake could get a vote or two, maybe another 7-1, like we've seen in
Oh
all
my
the
god.
Bureau season. I really
Good.
like a close final three though. Like I know Jeff says like the final three has more, room to make it more competitive, but sometimes I disagree with that. I think like because, D and Julie have been so close this entire game, I could see both of them just like going to the end together and duking it out. I could see, other options happening, but that's just my take. I think D's their winner.
Yeah.
I just don't really see an option for anything else except for Julie. So, what would you have in your finale predictions?
I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I think I've been on this for a long time that I think Austin is the fallen angel. They've foreshadowed it a lot. I could see a world where Jake and Katura, like they've shown them like making fire that one time, so there could be foreshadowing with that. Where like maybe it is a Boston Rob Amber situation where Austin makes a game losing move by taking D or D takes Austin. Because right now I feel like Austin is like pretty much like this season's like Xander. Like he's almost playing like near exactly like him. Not using the idol the correct way. I think he's been like his threat level has been like mitigated. I think he's a better player than Xander, but like that's just me. I'll take a different route where I actually do think yours is gonna happen, but I just want to think of like a chaotic, like what would be like the 43, like where a Gabler comes out of nowhere and wins. And here's my thoughts. I do think edit wise, if you look at it, I think it goes like D and Jake. I think Jake is almost a lock to make it to the end. Like, what if next round, like he just idles out D? That is a huge
That's
move,
a big, yeah, that's awesome. And then beats
and
Julian Fire.
beats Julian Fire. He wins.
Yeah,
I would say he would definitely win that because he and that's the only other person besides Julie. Like, if Julie gets in the end, I think she wins. So many people have hyped her up. I think Julie's like the big boss that has to be taken out by either by D to win the game, and I think she might just beat her anyways. But I do think what's going to happen is that Julie goes at 5. I think Jake probably idles, and therefore Julie goes. I think D honestly might win, just straight up win final immunity. Like I think she's like a better challenge performer than Austin at this point. So I can definitely see that. And then she could take whoever she wants to the end, and it doesn't matter. She might take Austin just so he doesn't have that moment of fire, which I think is a clever move, actually. Something Xander did, but he accidentally took someone who was straight up going to beat him. Um, then I think D, there's a chance. I mean, there's a chance D just wins unanimously. Like,
right.
I can definitely see a world where like D just straight up wins, which would make her one vote away from a perfect winner.
Yeah.
Because of the stray, because Sean just couldn't straight up quit. Either way, um, I think D's such an obvious winner, and I feel like it's different. People like mentioned Jesse and Ricard and all these people that got to the end, but like their stories was like set up to fail. Like if you look back on it, like you're like, oh, well, it makes sense why they lose. There's no like alternative here
Right.
other than Jake, but like he's just shown to be wrong at almost every turn.
Yeah.
Where like with Gabler, he was shown to be correct at most turns, if not all of them. So I do think D's the most likely winner. I think she'd be a. I've been on the record saying I think she'd be a top tier winner.
And she'd be up
Um,
for sure.
I think she'd play like she's basically playing like an Earl Cole level of game to me. Like
Yeah.
she didn't need advantages. She like there were so many times where she was the obvious threat, should have been taken out. She had shields, and like I don't know. I think this is just would be such a clean win. She'd probably be the best winner. I would say she's the best. I love Jam Jam's probably my favorite like new era player, but like I would say they're pretty close. It's
Yeah.
just like what you prefer.
Right. I think Jam Jam was more dominating, but like D was more socially like disarming. Like she just,
Yeah, she was like
took
smooth
people off
with it.
guard and then
Yeah.
completely wrecked them and like was able to see the game for what it was. I was listening to or and watch like reading like exit press from Drew. Apparently, he was saying that the jury saw Julie as the one that was making the big moves and D kind of like as the sidekick because not only the idol play, but even in this vote again. So that's kind of like their perception. So
I can see that.
I think Julie might win with D if it's Julie and D in the end together. I think Julie could pull it out. I think that would be her biggest competition. But I don't see Julie making it to the end unless it's like by herself. Like she doesn't have the edit for that to win.
She'd have to win out,
Yeah, she'd have
like
to. Yeah.
good way.
So there's so many different combinations that we can talk about for hours about like what could happen. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays out. And like we've predicted what's going to happen so much this season, and we've not really been right at all. So,
No, not really.
you never know what's going to
Good
happen.
editing.
Yeah, good editing for sure. And it's kind of keeping us on our toes. And so I think that kind of shows how good the season has been, and shows that like that, especially like the 90 minutes, like giving everyone a fair chunk of the edit, so that we all know what's going on with them. We can't really rule anyone out. I mean, except for Katura, like she hasn't done anything game wise, to help her.
Yeah.
Um, so other than that, like I'm really excited for the finale. Um, I think once again, I think D has the best chance of winning going into it. I think I think Julie's next there, like she has a great case of winning if she makes it to the end, but I think her path is difficult. And then Jake could be the dark horse pick in this final five. And then yeah, Austin Couture, I'm kind of out on them. I don't think they can win. If they do, it'd be like Chris Underwood level shocking.
Yeah,
Uh
I'd be like, where did this come from?
yeah. That would really tank the season really in my book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. I think the only prediction I have kept this whole time that I could be sort of right is just the Austin Fallen Angel. That's the only thing I have
I
left.
know that's the only thing we've talked about that's like could happen at this point.
Everything else we've been just so off. But I mean, great editing. I think this has been easily my favorite of the new era season, even if it has kind of slowed down since the early merge and pre-merge. But I mean, I love it. It's been great to see these characters. It's been great to like see kind of the evolution of the game that we talked about at the beginning, that like just keeping with your tribe and getting to the end, like it is a very viable strategy. We just saw it with Tika 3, now we saw it with Reba 4, where I think me and you agree that like Reba 4 is probably going to win.
Yeah.
And I think what D did here is an even more evolution of that game of like being a very like I didn't think of this, but like she's a pretty fluid player. Like she was able to get Katura and D to like come with Julie and then like naturally get out D or Drew. My apologies. I think she's so well socially. Um, it's been cool to see Survivor's new era like be like a true evolution of the game where um going into season 40 you saw Tony kind of just like dominate the game and he showed like I kind
Right.
of like the captain to that era of like Tony showing you how to win the game. Like if you want to win the game, look how Tony did it. But here it's a new era, it's a new different game, and we're seeing how each of these winners do it in a very different way, but have very similar through lines. So I think it's really cool.
Yes, I totally agree. And we'll also get our preview for season 46 as well. And this finale
Hey,
is hype as usual. And that will be airing 28th of February, I think. If
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure.
mistaken there. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I do think the new meta of this new era, like you were saying, is just like get a good solid group, three or four people from your original tribe, and then just ride that to the end. And that's all you really need to do. Like intentional Matt Singh, even, like
Yeah.
going down to two. Like I thought that Emily and Caleb had a really good shot, but they had
Yeah,
such
Caleb's threat management was just
it
god awful.
yeah, it was just not there. Um, and that's kind of what paid the price for both him and Emily because um Emily ended up making the great mistake of like saying that her move, like calling out what her
Yeah.
move was, and then everyone else seeing like same like threat management. And I think that's what happened to both of them. Um,
Mhm.
so I think it could be done where we have a group, go down to two, um, and just write it from there. But I think is perfected with Tika. I don't know, like Reba, there's too many variables, within the
Yeah.
four, like to make it just a swift and easy, like let's ride it all the way to four, and that's kind of what happened. It boiled over to this last episode and then this one. And so I'm excited to see
Yeah.
how the finale will play out. I'm still not ruling out Jake, even though it's probably not gonna happen. Um, but you never know. We'll see what happens on the
The
finale.
random Katura win is incoming. Just you wait.
Random Katura win, yeah, with her a couple of bounce back episodes, which has been really good. I've enjoyed Katura as a player,
I have
but
to.
she just hasn't done anything game wise that's helped her a lot. Like we even saw that scene where like Jake was like, "Don't tell D of the plan," like this. Let's just keep it this three, and then she immediately goes they cut and it's D and Katura going on a 3, 2, 1, Drew, and they just start jumping up and laughing. Like I thought that was a hilarious editing choice. Um, and then um, seeing that, like I don't know. Katura was saying a couple weeks ago, like, oh, I'm just gonna go with these Reba people, be kind of their fifth. I mean, it's helped her get far, but it's not really given her a chance to win, and that's really the point. And so and
Yeah,
we've already spent enough time throwing Austin in the dumpster as well. So
poor guy. I will
and
say, I know, I don't know if you've heard about it, but I do follow some of the casting directors on Instagram, and they are casting for season 48.
mm,
So if it is a returning, it would be fan versus favorites. But from what I've seen, they are doing newbies again.
dang,
I know.
that's tough.
I didn't. I didn't want to break it to you like this, but I had to.
That's so tragic because that's really a lot of seasons of newbies.
Yeah, we still have like at least three more.
I think that rules out like a legend season. Like they're gonna just like have 50 be like all the new era returnees.
I think 50 will be new era all stars.
Like that's just tragic for all those pre-40 players. Like if that's the
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean you're never guaranteed to return, but
Right. Fans versus favorites would serve them, or not fans, second chance again would serve them a lot better, but we'll see. Like I just
yeah, I
as far as returning hype goes, like I feel like they're not doing a great job with that.
yeah, I mean there's no one really just be like, yo, let me return. Like it's it's been nothing. But yeah. So, if you want to get on season 48, I mean, could be fans versus favorites, but that's the only other way.
I know I've applied, so maybe it's my time.
It's your time. Maybe you aren't
Yeah.
meant to be on 48.
Yeah, another interesting fact is I was looking at the ratings for this last episode, and
Mhm.
it's been the most viewed of the season. Like,
Really, this episode?
yeah, 5.3 compared to the premiere,
Really?
which had 5.2. So, which is kind of cool. An increase in
Kind of
viewership in the middle of the season.
kind of a random episode to like return at, but
Yeah, that they might end up the finale might be the most viewed of the season when all things are said and done. But
that'd be good.
5.1 million is a lot, and that's a good numbers. So like
They're gonna be keep going.
they're yeah, they're gonna keep going for a while. So not worried about Survivor. And like I was just thinking like it's just not gonna end after 50. Like that's just
I
I
think
just
it'll keep going. Like even when Jeff retires, it'll probably take a hiatus. I think when Jeff retires will maybe be the legend season where he just calls up everyone
yeah.
one last season. But like after watching like Australian Survivor and Survivor UK is now on, like there are a lot of people who can do just
Yes.
job. And as sad as it would be, like Jonathan from Australian Survivor is a great host.
Yeah, for sure.
And there'd be a lot of people that could come back. Like I mean, Rob Cesternino could just be the new host.
I know that would
That'd
actually work pretty well. Like he would do a really good job.
He would do great. But yeah, I think Survivor's gonna be here for a while. A lot of so much room to grow. Like this game's constantly evolving. There's so much
I
you
know
can do.
that's the beauty of Survivor is that you can take however many strangers and drop them on an island and have this basic format of voting people out until you reach a final three or two, and then the jury picks a winner. Like that format, you can just take that and do. There's so many different combinations because there's people from all walks of life. There's different strategic maneuvers that people can pull off, as well
Mm,
as the different twists as well that that just got to be a part of the show because it's a TV show and that's just kind of what happens. So like
yeah,
that's the beauty of Survivor right there. It's like
it
the
is.
constant evolution and change. Um, and one more thing, did you see that Sandra and Parvati are on the House of what is it? No, like
Traders,
Traders.
Transition.
Yeah,
Yes,
season 2.
I cannot wait to watch it because my favorite one of my favorite Big Brother players is also on there. So it's gonna be cool seeing all of them play.
That'd be hype. I haven't seen the first season, so I gotta go look back and watch that. So
It's a very good season. Very
so
fun.
I'll have to look into it. But anyways, it's been a fun recap of the episode. We'll be back after the finale. Who knows? Hopefully we can get it done early because Christmas is coming up soon. So we'll try to meet on
Yeah,
Thursday and just knock it out and go on break, and then we'll be back with some off-season coverage of ranking videos and stuff we promised for a while, but we'll bring those to y'all. And then we'll get ready for Survivor 46. So
I know.
hope you have a good one. Yeah, talk to you later. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening, please rate and review us so we can find other more Survivor fans as well. So thank you guys so much, and we'll be back